no secret that the Old Firm derby is one of the most notorious, passionate and fractious games in world football. But how did it get this way? Is it a case of hatred breeding more hatred? And what have been the most inflammatory incidents over the years? The 1980 Scottish Cup final went down in history for all the wrong reasons. A Celtic victory in extra time led to a riot that one commentator described as like being a scene out of Apocalypse Now.
The fallout of that game has been quite profound and long-lasting. In the wake of that game, the Scottish Government banned drinking of alcohol in any football grounds around the country.
Scottish football still shaped around that game.
Fans started getting in the pitch, the next thing you know there's a massive riot, and it's just like, what is going on?
Under the Conservatives running the country at the time, it started the sanitisation of football to the point where football fans are now treated like criminals.
And you've got a legislation called the Offensive Behaviour Act because of a Celtic Rangers game.
It's hard to imagine a match further away from the prawn sandwich corporate football stereotype than Celtic versus Rangers. But will modern football ever be able to sanitise the Old Firm derby?
I don't think modern football sanitised it at all, really. In fact, I think the gap between Rangers not being in the league and then coming back into the league has exacerbated things in a lot of ways, because of the absence makes the heart grow stronger.
I can't see it happening, to be honest. The divide is too much in the city. I mean, there's literally areas where Celtic fans can't go in, and there's areas where Rangers fans couldn't go in.
You don't want to remove that tribalism from it. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same fixture if you just had both sets of fans sitting there, not chanting, not shouting, not screaming. It just wouldn't be the same.
When Rangers suffered a financial meltdown in 2012 and were relegated to the 3rd Division, many Celtic fans decided that meant Rangers FC no longer existed. It's been a stick to prod their supporters with ever since.
Celtic fans have tried to convince themselves that Rangers are dead, that there's only one team and that the team that's come back as Rangers aren't the ones that were there before. I think the way that they show how much they hate this supposedly new team, they're the ones that they want to beat more than anything else.
There still is obviously the rivalry between Celtic and Rangers. I don't buy into the whole Rangers are a new club and all that sort of stuff. It's still the same passion, the same hatred there.
Because if we don't exist, why do they continue to talk about us constantly? Why do they continue to watch our games? If we're a new club, why do they continue to get so worked up when they play us? And if we're a new club, why do they continue to sell the ground out?
Never likely to win any popularity contests, El Hadji Diouf was always going to be a figure of hate for Celtic fans. So when Scott Brown equalised at Ibrox in 2011, he defiantly celebrated right in the Senegalese player's face, much to the delight of boys fans.
I think one of the most iconic images from the last couple of years, certainly before Rangers were demoted, is the picture of Scott Brown doing what Celtic fans now call the Bruni, with his arms aloft, you know, right in front of El Hadji Diouf after he'd scored in an Old Firm game.
Like, he had previous history with Celtic fans. He'd spat on them when he was a Liverpool player.
Despicable behaviour.
And he was just a hate figure for Celtic fans.
If Rangers fans love him for the fact that he done something, you know, to a Celtic player or whatever, fair enough, like, but he's, you know, a scumbag.
My favourite player growing up, certainly in my teenage years, he was a character. He
could have lit up the whole bloody stadium. That was a riot waiting to happen when he did that.
Ian Ferguson kind of stitched him up and said, when you score, do a float.
Do you think he genuinely didn't know what he was doing?
I genuinely don't think he knew the first time.
He definitely knew the second time.
Pretending to play a flute, a gesture hinting at loyalist supremacy once, was incendiary at best. Doing it a second time, in front of Celtic fans, completely aware of how provocative a gesture it was, could have incited a full-blown riot.
Banter, isn't it? It's just banter.
Despite the dark times Rangers fans have had to endure in recent years, there's one record they're more than happy to talk about, equalling their great rivals' feat of 9 league titles in a row. But now, with Celtic on 6 in a row as it stands, talk is turning to whether they can go one better.
We are improving. I think a lot of Celtic's success hinges on Brendan Rodgers and what he has done for their club. I don't think Celtic will get to 10 in a row.
I just think Celtic are too strong and have too much of a financial upper hand.
It's been years and years since anyone got close to that.
I think the thing that they find hard to deal with is that Celtic genuinely have kind of moved on to this higher level now. Like we're playing in the Champions League.
Getting trounced in the Champions League.
How did you get on in Europe this season?
Despite all the cheap jokes about Scottish football, you'll struggle to find a match anywhere that tops the Old Firm derby in terms of excitement, passion and incident. And that's not going to be changing anytime soon.